remember, if you're a warrior and you're dealing with rebels, any available tool at your disposal, use it. The failure to do anything is the success of the rebels.
But do you agree
So
that
silence is not an option.
it's not an option?
Yeah.
But do you agree that so many people who out there considers themselves as the warriors, what they can do mostly on internet, I can even check now because these rebels are always tweeting. If I'm to check on Twitter or any other social media platform and check out what these rebels have just put out, maybe in this week, you will see that the first 50 tweets are just bullying. They bully back the person. There's no fact.
Yeah.
There's no fact in it. Hello there. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much once again for joining us on this new podcast. Today, we are recording our first episode of the Uncharted Conversation. At the Uncharted Conversation, it is a new podcast that is coming up in Kigali that we are going to be exploring ideas, analysis, and giving to you our opinions about different ideas, different topics, different matters that are ongoing in the country and in the region, and also globally. So today, we start our podcast together with a friend of mine, Mr. Magnus Mazimpaka. Magnus, what's up, man?
I'm good.
How are you?
I'm not complaining.
Are you doing well?
Yes.
So I think
So far.
for the viewers, they would love to hear from you also why we have this new podcast, because as someone who is hosting it with you, I understand what the podcast is all about, but would you tell someone listening to us what the podcast is all about and why we have it right now?
Well, there are so many podcasts, not only in Rwanda, but all over the world that explore some of the topics that we'll be discussing. But the only difference we want to bring on to the table is we want to navigate different dimensions and dissect ideas and topics in a manner that makes sense to local, international, and global views or viewers. Our opinions matter a lot to the rest of the world, much as it matters to the local people. But the intention of Uncharted Conversations is not to be boxed in a kind of conversation that is limited to spheres that most people are associated with or are afraid to navigate. So basically what we want to do in this kind of conversations is to go not even outside the box, far from the box.
I like that.
Yeah,
Far
from the box.
We get outside, but we go far from the box.
Yes, meaning
I get it.
At some point you and I should be able to agree and disagree respectfully.
Sure.
Right? But also bring on board views, information, ideas that people crave for or they can't find on the street. We have to dig deep, do some research, and also bring some expertise, not just conversations, ideas, and
not conversations.
everyone
Going
is
deeper
accustomed
into the,
to.
Yeah. So today, our first topic, we agreed that we are going to start
Did
with
I
that.
make sense?
You make a lot of sense because now you've explained how it matters for someone who is used to hear podcasts, who loves podcasts, but podcasts that just pass on the top layer, because you're trying to mean that we want to go deeper into beneath the normal conversations that people are used to, so that we can give someone something that has research, something that has expertise, something that explains beyond what has been published, be it in Rwanda or outside of Rwanda. So we've agreed that our first topic today is to look at the digital warriors in Rwanda. And the topic itself speaks sense. Who are the digital warriors? If someone would love to know what I mean by digital warriors, what are we trying to mean? Even before we go further from the topic itself, what is digital warrior?
Well, interesting subject and very timely. You know, digital warriors, you have to look at both negative and positive perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Digital warriors are like rebels or troops in a positive manner,
mm-hmm.
and rebels in a negative manner. What does that mean? It means it's a community of people, either with skills or no skills, that are meant to advance a certain agenda or execute a certain task
mm-hmm.
in a short time or long time.
Mm.
They can mean good, others can mean bad. So in our context...
In this case, are we talking about the Rwanda's digital warriors?
Yes. So in our context, Rwanda's digital warriors are people on both sides of the spectrum, or a community of people who join effort to amass certain information on the internet, mm-hmm. especially on social media or mm-hmm. social networks. And then there are those who either defend or attack.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, take an example. If you have a product you want to launch on the market,
mm-hmm.
and you put together a team of influencers to break down the specifications of that particular product or a service. In the next 48 hours or 72 hours, the internet is bombarded with the details about this particular product or a service.
I see.
From a side of, let's say, in politics, you're running for office. You hire a group, a community of digital warriors, right, to advance your manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
But in our case, we have something peculiar that is, synonymous with Rwanda and Rwanda's story, is the hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
But also in the region. We have a community of people who spread hate speech, genocide ideology, it has now spread all over the region and globally. So what Rwanda does as a government is mobilize people to combat that kind of exercise against the digital rebels. So what happens is that
the digital rebels
you have digital rebels and digital warriors.
So right? The digital rebels are the villains, the ones spreading the hate speech.
Yes.
And the digital warriors are the ones who are bombarding them with the facts.
To defend, fact check, expose, Yeah.
Is that a fact that Rwanda has got?
There's no country that doesn't.
That has got a group of such digital warriors who are just always there ready to.
What happens is that it is a public awareness campaign where you find that these warriors are not on a payroll. These are not paid people. It's like you and I. I don't doubt your views, but I don't think you would sit idle in your room somewhere and ignore people who are spreading lies and hate speech.
No, of course, I have to defend it with a fact.
How did it come about?
I defend it with a fact.
How did it come
Because
about?
I know a fact. I have a fact.
Where did you get the facts from?
The
It's
way
public awareness.
you can't get a fact from just the public awareness, because
so
sometimes
it's-
some awarenesses are also
Yes,
giving known facts,
this
trying
is the
to
responsibility of
pursue
the state
an agenda. Yeah.
to mobilize the general masses, the general public, against such kind of behavior. So when you see hate speech in a particular country, in a particular community, going on and spreading all over the place, and then it gets to a point where it is solid, that's lack of governance. It means the state is involved, or it has ignored.
Before you go further, there is something you've just talked about, that these are people who are not on a government payroll.
Not necessarily. I was breaking it down.
Okay, there are those who are on the
There are
government
those who are
payroll,
paid.
but there are those who are not
Yes.
paid,
Like
but
you and
still,
I.
but it's still trying to debunk the
Yes,
the
exactly.
lies and
Yes. Yes.
But what I've noticed, if we are to broaden more about that, is that there's a certain group of people who are not on the payroll, as you just mentioned.
The largest
That's what I
majority,
think.
yes.
Who are not on the payroll, that are actually not even able to debunk the hate speech or the lies on internet, but somehow advance it by giving information that is not even actually factual. Hence, giving the other person who was spreading the rumors, getting another, how do we call it? I mean, something to climb on, to continue advancing it. So, for instance, let's say if someone says that, okay, there are so many genocide deniers that have been arrested in recent years. And someone comes out and says, you don't know about that. You are just saying that this person was arrested without having anything to do with genocide denying and all that. And someone continues to share that information. There's no fact in that. Someone just says, you're lying. This one is not a genocide denier.
Yes.
And
So
it ends there, but you know that you are actually advancing this information, but you are not actually showing that, you're not giving your fact about that. You are bombarding the internet with a lot of information that everyone now can see that, this person has attracted audience. You are endorsing this person indirectly. That's why, for me, if I see that I don't have a fact on something, I don't actually tweet about that.
okay, I get your point, and I respect your way of doing things. But here's the thing: when you're dealing with hate speech and cyberbullying and propagandists who propagate false information, hate speech, all that kind of stuff. What happens? There are certain tools you use or approach to combat this kind of vice. Or remember, we said these are rebels, bots behind the screens. There are certain techniques. One, you fact check them and call them out. Two, you use what you call empathy. Expose their lack of humanity, a lack of feelings against other human beings. You use storytellers. You have all these people who have stories that contradict what the rebels are spreading. You have testimonies of either victims of hate speech or victims of actions from hate speech. To a certain extent, you can also use memes and mock these rebels. All those techniques work. Sometimes you can even go to the extent of bullying them as well. Because remember, if you're a warrior and you're dealing with rebels, any available tool at your disposal, use it. The failure to do anything is the success of the rebels.
But do you agree
So
that
silence is not an option.
it's not an option?
Yeah.
But do you agree that so many people who out there considers themselves as the warriors, what they can do mostly on internet, I can even check now because these rebels are always tweeting. If I'm to check on Twitter or any other social media platform and check out what these rebels have just put out, maybe in this week, you will see that the first 50 tweets are just bullying. They bully back the person. There's no fact.
Yeah.
There's no fact in it. But do you know that when you just bully without a fact, your numbers, this rebel is chipping in into your numbers on social media, and let's say you have 10K people following you, and you've just bullied this person without giving a single fact. Do you know that you are giving this person at least 2K people, 2,000 people, to have a chance to look at the information this person has shared? And out of the 2K
Yes.
that will see this, do you know that you are also getting like maybe 500 people, let's say 50 people who are also concurring with this rebel, that will also spread the same information, will also have a chance also to see what is happening and also
It's
re-spread.
very interesting. You know, cyberbullying or hate speech or propagating falsehood, misinformation and false information is an art. Most of these people who do these things are not fools.
Of
They're
course
actually
they are
very
not.
smart people,
course, even if-
intelligent. It is deliberate.
If you go through what they put out and check them, you see they
There's
are really
no
smart people.
rebel on the internet who is a fool. They do these things deliberately because they study and they master the art of either annoying, persuading, discouraging, and causing havoc. They have this archaic urge to dismantle your feelings, to dismantle your thoughts, and drive you nuts. So what happens is that they lack empathy. They have no feelings. They really don't care whether what they are saying is true or false. What they need to achieve is to cause damage, emotional damage, mislead the public, and drive a certain agenda. And this kind of agenda tends, more or less, tends to be a negative agenda.
Definitely. Most
So
of the time.
what happens is that a fact checker is put on defense, or the victims are on defense. When you find yourself put on a defensive mode, it is your burden to fact check, to disprove, to manage your emotions, and also track the extent to which this information is spreading and do something about it. But beyond that, certain jurisdictions have laws. If hate, those who spread hate are within the jurisdiction of a particular
Of course, they can
setting,
face justice.
a geographical setting, some laws can actually go after them, right? So what happens is that it is the burden of the state to protect the public against those kind of people. This is why we have RIB sometimes pulling out people from somewhere.
For cyberbullying and all that.
Yeah, and misinformation and spreading hate speech. We have the law here. The law, I think, 2018, there was a law against genocide ideology and incitement of public. It is a very broad law. It punishes people who deny, incite genocide ideology, hate speech, all that is involved in there. But we also have a law on cyberbullying. You hiding behind your screen does not protect you against the law.
No,
the
it
law
doesn't.
can
Of
come
course,
after you.
you will face the law
Yes.
once you go against it. So, but now, going back to Rwanda's digital warriors, let's explore this in details. Do you think...
By the way, we don't have enough warriors. I don't think so. We've been hit hard.
We've been hit hard.
I
You
mean,
know, that's why I was saying that. That's why I was coming
We
to that,
have-
saying, have we really done a job?
And it's still going on. We've been hammered so miserably. I mean, the whole world now has two versions of the story.
Definitely. You know, take an example recently where they were spreading information about our president.
Yeah.
You know, look at that information. We failed to supplace people who were talking more about that.
Well, that's what I was
Yet
saying.
it was
here.
a lie.
It was a lie, but like I told you, the art of digital rebels, who cyber bullies and hate speech, negative information propagators, they spot a crack in the system or in a particular society or a group of people, and they know your weaknesses. And then what happens is that they ride on arousing people's emotions. They pick certain things that, affect people's emotions. President Kagame is a popular president, not only in Rwanda, all over the world. So what happens is anything you say about him is picked, either good or bad. So what they capitalize on is that the largest portion of information on the internet in the previous years was positive information. So bringing in a different version of news or information attracts attention.
But seriously, how does being sick becomes a problem?
Yeah.
How does being
Because
sick becomes a problem?
It's a big problem because it's an issue of humanity. If you are a popular person, especially liked or admired, anything about you is important. Even stumbling on a stone.
That brings me to a question that...
So, what you know is that if you want to annoy, aggravate people who like him, you say bad things about him.
Now, if you don't want people to talk about
no
bad
matter
things
whether
on
it is
me,
true or false.
No. If you don't want people to talk about bad things about me, as a paid warrior, what should you be doing? That's the question now. Because you told me they detect a crack. They detect a crack and they use that crack to hit you.
Yes.
Now, that's the question I want to ask. A paid warrior who has all the information on the fingertips about whatever is going on. Before someone detects a crack, why can't you expose the crack?
No, not expose the crack. You feel the crack. You feel the gap. So the best way
No.
to...
Maybe I
get your
raised
point.
it bad.
Yes, I get your question. I understand where you're coming from. So and that is exactly what is supposed to be done. So what you do is that you are aware of those rebels out there, these bots behind screens. You know, sometimes there is also algorithms. You know, with these social media networks. You know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. What they usually do is sometimes they can trigger and configure certain information in a particular geographical setting and a particular demographic at a particular time. So that's one side. But if you have a massive outfit of these digital rebels, and you know how they operate, you know how they think, you have to be very careful and flag off an opportunity for them. For example, 1 out of 20 that are widely known, let's say, tweets something negative. Let's say the recent case that the president is sick. That's enough trigger for the digital warriors, right? But particularly starting with people who manage the president's office or whom his handlers. One tweet is enough to trigger all the warriors. You pull out all your tools to prevent the propagation of this false information. The less tools you apply, the bigger the crack. So what does that mean? It means you're widening
The crack.
the crack for as many as rebels to go through.
To fill in.
Yes.
So now that brings me to this. You mentioned that if you are aware of the crack, you fill the gap.
Yeah.
And I want to know, for me, what I think, actually, that once I know that, let's speak bluntly, once I know that the president is sick, because I'm the one who is handling that, I'm the handler, you see, as you mentioned, I would imagine that for you to fight back someone, because you know 100% that someone is going to cling on this and fight you. You know that just a simple case saying that our president is sick, it is something very simple. You know that they're going to cling on this, they're going to climb on this, and they're going to come and attack. Just tell them.
You're right.
Because when you tell them,
you're
now
right.
you've already covered the crack, they will come while, they will not be the ones to spread the first, they will not be the ones to give the information at first hand.
You know, there are several techniques. Those who the experts in communication and fighting misinformation and misleading and dealing with these rebels. You know, sometimes you can be proactive.
That's what I want.
And then in-house, you see something and then you say, well, if this information gets in the hands of the wrong guys, you draw possible outcomes. How will they use it? Definitely it will be negative. But what are the possible attachments that, what are the possible ways of using this information? So once you draw that, then you
decide.
Go back and say, okay, the president is on a holiday, but you didn't announce it. So his absence from the public is going to be used in a negative way. One, they will say he's sick, they'll say he's dead, they'll say he's they have a long list of things they can come up with. So what you usually do is you announce it. Say the president is on a holiday. It's not going to be in a public arena for maybe 3 weeks or 1 week. That's one option. Option two is once you see, you pick in such kind of information, a terrible piece of tweet somewhere saying president is sick, he's somewhere in Germany. You draw your troops. You don't wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. No. That's very dangerous. Can become very, very troubling. Now, let's expand. Let's go to recent complex, wider hate speech campaign in Eastern DRC. The government of Tshisekedi spent millions of dollars to propagate hate speech all over the world. All over the world.
I hear they have a big...
Let me tell you, printing out a list of falsehoods, study them, design them, and now start spreading them all over the place. In diplomatic circles, on the internet, everywhere, on forums, in conferences and meetings. And then go back home and employ the rebels, the bots behind the screen, to multiply and spread
the rumors.
False
information.
Yes, false information. It's well designed and it is consistent. So what happens is that if you don't apply the same and you are playing the victim card, you go on the defensive mode. Sometimes you even get overwhelmed because the rebels are not afraid to tread in dangerous waters.
Sure.
Including picking, let's say, for example, a video that is as old as 10 or 20 years old, or a photo, and generating AI videos and photos and throwing them out there for you to deal with it. What happens is that if you're not careful, if you don't invest massively, the damage is irreversible. And it is not their responsibility to fix it. You find yourself in boiling water.
So what I don't...
This is what is happening in Eastern DRC. People are dying.
People are dying. That's a fact.
Yeah, hundreds of people are dying because of that hate speech propagation. And it went to an extent where now they expanded it to hit Rwanda. The damage DRC has caused to Rwanda, it will take us too long to fix. And the price, I don't know whether we can even place a certain tag. It's massive.
What would it take?
I don't think there is anything that would come close to my mind.
So,
well, like I told you, there are things that are supposed to be done. Is either overwhelm the hate speech with testimonies, fact-checking, testimonies, storytellers, but you must invest massively, possibly 3, 4, 5 times bigger than that.
But I think I don't think that if you have facts on your hands and you debunk all the information,
friend.
I mean
that's not how the world works today these days.
Why I'm saying this? Seriously, let's be fair to each other. It is very hard to fight back someone who has invested heavily like that. Like what Tshisekedi has done.
It is hard, but it is doable.
It is doable. Hard.
You attempt. You can't, like I told you
Of course,
earlier,
you can't just let things go.
The easiest weapon that haters or hate speech propagators use, that they capitalize on, is your silence.
Of course. I'm not saying you should use silence.
If they come up with a technique of propagating certain falsehoods that look almost real, that it becomes overwhelming. You start now scratching your head, figuring out, how do I address this? The longer you take, that's how the misinformation spreads. By the time you come, if they have reached 100 million people, for you to achieve the same target, you must possibly use 4 or 5 times the resources, and it will take longer. Sometimes you won't even delete
But at
the
some
information.
point, I don't think competing for
be
numbers the reason, might be the solution. Competing for numbers.
You know the phrase, first come, first serve?
Definitely, I know.
So whoever puts information out there
Fast wins more numbers than you.
Exactly. So by the time you come back to
Now you see,
fact check, to dismantle.
Now you see, you are coming back to me, because I said, for me, if I was the one to be given a chance to manage something of that kind, my priority would be, let's go back in marketing. Let's say if your company is high.
It's not as easy as you might think. Let me tell you. Sometimes the more positive information you put out there, this is how the world works. They start becoming skeptical. Yeah. Now you trigger the haters or the negativists to say, oh, look at these guys. They start mocking your information. The thing is, the nature of human beings is that we love bad news.
Of course, bad news
Unfortunately,
is what is news. Most
news.
people, that's what they think.
But it doesn't take away the fact that good news sometimes can overwhelm bad news. So
but
this is a science. It's a technique. It's an art.
we've been hit hard on different occasions, and when I look at it, for me, I've not seen us really responding so massively.
So what have you done personally, you as an individual?
As an individual, of course, I respond with a fact. If I see,
have you like deliberately made this an activity on a daily basis, looking out for the rebels spreading bad news, negative news, hate speech, and going after them? Have you?
Going after them?
Yeah.
It's not solely what I have to do as a job, but of course I do it when I have time. I can't.
The interesting part of these characters, they don't get tired.
They're paid.
Not even when they're not. For them, it's passion.
No, some people
They are
are
passionate about
some people are on a big payroll to be
Yes,
stupid.
that's correct. But there are others who they are inherently 24 hours.
No, you look at someone who
throwing out all the dirt.
No, you look at someone who consumes
You get what
another
I'm
person
saying?
completely. I understand. People who are not
There are
really
human
there
beings out there who are inherently negative, hostile, ideologically bankrupt, inhumane. That's what they do. They feast on you, on your emotions. They are happy when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're upset, and they feast on it. They work 24 hours without pay.
Okay,
Unfortunately, that's true.
that's true.
Yeah, that's what is
So,
out there.
The only solution for us to debunk is to
There are
resort to
people
that.
who wake up in the morning, for example, they go on Twitter and they're looking for bad news to spread. They want to know what is out there. There are those who wake up in the morning and spend hours.
Researching on what to.
Yeah, they even read books to figure out something bad against you.
There are some people who hate you with passion.
Yes. Inherently.
Yeah, I've seen so many who hate
Now,
this country with passion.
When you're dealing with those kind of characters, you just know in their head they are naturally anarchists. No? That's number one. Number two, they lack empathy. They are hostile. Huh? They don't wish you to breathe the next day. When you're dealing with those kind of characters, you must employ 4 or 5 times effort.
What is missing?
It's a deliberate decision. I mean, we need more effort. We need more resources. We need to be very aggressive against these kind of characters. Very aggressive.
But I think that, what do you
They
think?
have to lose. Put it in your mind. I mean, we must mobilize the public that these people have to lose. This is a battle we have to fight. They have to lose. Once you lock it into your mind, they also get to know that they have to lose. And put in resources. Because the damage it causes without employing resources, like I told you, it's irreversible. It's deadly.
But seriously, Magnus, I usually...
It's an issue of national security, by the way.
Of course.
Because it affects so many things. It affects the
because
bloodline of the country.
when you spread disinformation and, lies, someone who is not informed about that will consume it the way it is, and will take it like that. And that means that even people inside the country who are not informed about that, they will think this is the truth. So you're not creating havoc outside of the country. Actually,
you imagine
it inside.
Over the past 14 days, Tshisekedi and his allies in Eastern DRC, for example, just past 2 weeks, they have killed close to over 100 people, 500.
A big number, man.
In northern Kivu, southern Kivu, in Ituri, in close to Minembwe and Uvira, southern Kivu. Have you seen it on the screens anywhere? On CNN, on BBC, on Al Jazeera? Even in the region. In the region. Look at all the media houses in the region.
They're paid heavily.
No, not only that.
What is it?
Because looking out for the decision to dismantle, to combat hate speech and falsehood propagation is sometimes a burden of a state. The state has to take the lead, right? When the state takes the lead to misinform, then others follow.
Yeah, definitely.
So if DRC has deliberately
Decided to
mislead the world, that whatever soul that is lost on a daily basis is a responsibility of, let's say, M23, and sometimes they add Rwanda. Do you know, it is now the responsibility of Rwanda, it's the responsibility of M23 to dismantle that falsehood. Right? Of course, with the international community, but you can't bank on or count on international community, because history shows us how they have abandoned us. And not only in Rwanda. See what will happen in Middle East, what happened in Yugoslavia, what happened in the US in 2001. It's a responsibility of the state.
So that's why I'm asking, what should we do here?
When I say it's a responsibility of the state,
so the state is not...
It should take the lead.
To your perspective?
You are expecting a small guy, Magnus, with his Tarifa or other platforms or other media houses here to take the lead. There is so much they can do. The rest is the responsibility of the state, is to figure out which platforms are viable to use, to dismantle this deadly virus moving around.
That brings me to this. Why? I want to ask you this question. Why do we prioritize international media for debunking information? For debunking information, or maybe for sharing our facts to people we know 100% that they are not going to put those facts
Okay,
into their writings.
there are very many dimensions there.
Because let me finish. If I go out there and say, my name is Arafat, I host a podcast, the Uncharted Conversations, and I want to have an interview with you about ABCD to debunk this exactly information. Do you think I will easily be given a platform?
Yeah. It depends on who is responsible for that kind of assignment. Whose responsibility is it? If their scope of work is limited, then unfortunately the answer will be no.
No.
Did you get my point? My point is they are supposed to widen the scope. Domestic, regional, international. Right? Because every platform has a following. But if the handlers, or those who are responsible for, this kind of assignment, have a limited scope, they won't do that. So the achievement will be limited.
So you rather go for someone who is not even going to write what you're going to
You
put
don't
out.
get my point. The handlers, or those who are responsible for deploying whatever resources available at their disposal to dismantle hate speech, propaganda, and misinformation. If these people are limited in terms of scope, domestically, regionally, and globally, then the effect or the results are going to be limited. But sometimes they also can be in a position where they don't have as much resources as possible. Thirdly, their story might not be selling. Fourth point, it's a world of man eat man. If your story doesn't serve the interest of the rest of the world, I'm sorry to say, even when you're screaming on top of your head, no one will listen. That's the world we live in today.
But are you aware that most of the misinformation that is written by especially the international media, the Western media, mostly, do you know that they go pick sentences on different platforms of these haters or these people spreading the hate speech? Sometimes these people, they don't even interview people.
Yeah, I mean,
They just pick around.
Look.
And that's why I'm saying, if you have local media.
I just told you a few minutes ago that if your story doesn't serve the interests of the rest of the world, I'm sorry to say,
no one is going to read it.
no one cares. So let's say, for example, if the Minister of Foreign Affairs posts something on his Twitter account, right? And the journalist in the newsroom or someone goes on Twitter, uses Grok or ChatGPT to generate a tweet or a story and types in Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs. There's a possibility of having 3 names. Whose responsibility do you think it is to fact check? Especially when someone doesn't care, just wants to put a story out there. You find that the story will come, the response will come with Dr. Biruta instead of Nduwunjire.
Why?
That's the information out there that has been fed to
the AI.
the AI. Meaning, The other warriors I was telling you, it's the responsibility of the state, right? To feed what you call a digital footprint. A digital footprint is, a footprint, right? The more the footprints you have out there, the more visible you are, the more the story you are. Whoever is trying to search, the results that come out, the algorithms, depends on how much information has been fed.
So, Magnus, we are talking about Rwanda's digital warriors. And we are not just speaking about the warriors in Rwanda, but we are speaking about all the warriors, on internet that represents their governments or even different agendas. But now, what would be the take home for someone listening to the Uncharted Conversations about this, and how should it be handled in particular for Rwanda?
So, in academia, the scope is wide. You have researchers, you have professors, you have authors. The scope is wide. So you mobilize the public in that domain to play their role. Do research, publish, educate, engage in very robust debate and forums, write books, dismantle all these information out there.
With written facts.
Yes, and then you have media, very big tool, important tool. Media has to be engaged, both domestic and globally. For that, at some point you have to invest in a lot of resources. Traditional media is a public good, was a public good. The way you consume electricity, oxygen, the road, all that, water. But today, media is a different landscape. It's largely owned by private people, investors or owners. It's not a public good anymore. Meaning, and there is also erosion of morality all over the world. People are greedy. They care about money, what you bring on the table. You don't expect every media house to really have that line of thinking, an editorial line that focuses on public interest than their own interest. So you will have to find a way of investing. Same way I told you what Sked is doing. Is investing in media to propagate a falsehood.
As you said, most media houses are owned by people who are looking for money, profit-oriented.
And then you have to have proper and really solid laws.
But also, don't forget, you have, back to media, you also have to use the national media to do their job.
Yes.
Because it's...
It is true. So, that was one of the takeaways I was there's also diplomacy. We didn't talk about this, but diplomacy is important. Extremely important.
How you play your games.
Especially when you're dealing with with a global stage behind the scene. You must to up your game. I think Rwanda is good at diplomacy. Previously, we were good at media and global engagement, but I think we kind of either I can't say we backtracked, but I think
why? What do you who to blame for that? What do you blame that for?
It's the handlers. Sometimes you find that maybe our approach, our dimension, and our scope of things change. things change.
So we need to style up,
Pull up our socks.
because now when you actually by virtue of look, a lot of misinformation is ongoing.
My friend, I
right
told
now.
you when you're dealing with propagandists and hate speech propagators, you're dealing with someone who is using whatever tool is at their disposal. And on top of that, when they're investing a huge amount of money. But in domestically speaking, when you're dealing with hate speech propagators who are possibly in the diaspora and outside the country, because most of those who are in the country know the law will catch up with them. So those who are out, they capitalize on the fact that they are operating outside your jurisdiction, much as the laws are now becoming, implemented in some other countries, because a law against genocide and hate is now
You can face the judgment even far from home.
Yes, UN Convention. Beyond that, it is really complicated. But I want to conclude on one key point. Much as the damage is huge and almost irreversible, at some point, the villains will have their space. At some point.
To your opinion, you think the damage is irreversible?
It is close to that. Because you imagine the whole world knows about two versions of the story. When it comes to hate speech targeting a particular group of people, and propagating double genocide, right? Tribalism, ethnicity.
Speaking to the general population, what should a Rwandan who is not on the payroll, who is not a handler, do right now? Because
well, you're talking about victims. You're talking about descendants of victims. You're talking about people who have empathy, sympathy. You have good friends across the world. You have logical people. May not be concerned, but they are logical. They are human beings. They know this is wrong, this is bad, this is dangerous. It will spread. What the world knows so far today is that don't ignore what is happening in another geographical setting. Domestically, bad people, they learn, they observe, they pick a leaf. They will use similar techniques and tactics against you. So don't ignore what is happening on the other side of the world. You learn lessons and you avoid, you combat ahead of time. In the world we're living in today, enemies don't come with only bullets. That's why we're talking about digital warriors and digital rebels. Not all rebels use guns. They use a pen, they use digital platforms. They can inflict as much damage as someone who has a bullet.
So advise someone who is really passionate about debunking false information on how to get facts.
How to get facts.
There
are platforms that you can trust. You can have a government website. You can have individuals who are out there who are known as experts in this particular
who you
field.
can refer to.
Yeah, the government communication. There is also people you know. I mean, if you wanted to find out about what's happening in Eastern DRC, for example, you think it's difficult for you to find someone reliable to give you
It
facts?
might not be difficult for
No,
me
it's
because
not.
I know how to find information.
Yes.
But not all Rwandans know that.
I don't think so. If someone wanted to find out the facts, and the intention is to find out facts, it's easy to do that.
So as we close up, what is it that you would want to stress out before we conclude our conversation of today as we head to...
Well, as human beings, I think one has to sit back and say, how do I feel about what's happening to the other side of the world? Is it worth it to have another human being suffering and going through miserable experiences? What do you gain? What do you benefit when someone is suffering? You're in Europe, you're in America, you're in Asia, and you wish someone else in another part of the world to suffer. I think human beings need to come back to their senses. Yeah. Humanity is important. Empathy is important. I mean, you can't go back home to bed and sleep and feel comfortable that someone else is suffering. It's none of your business. No. That's not the kind of world we want our kids to inherit.
Definitely.
No.
Definitely.
I don't think so.
No.
Put yourself in their shoes. Would we be happier if we inherited a hostile world more than it is today? Of course, the answer is no.
No.
So if we want our kids, our descendants, to inherit a safer, peaceful, and harmonious world, we have to play a role today to avoid such kind of catastrophic experiences. Yeah.
So to all Rwandans who are listening to the Uncharted Conversation and who have actually watched our first episode, you've heard it. The ball is rolling. You take your time, take all the tools you have, and fight back, because no one is going to fight for you, because you're fighting for your future. You're fighting for your next generation that is going to be living in this country. And of course, you've heard it. The people who are against us are really investing heavily. So we need to invest what we have, and what we have is the information and the facts. So see you next time. That was it for today. Bye for now.